The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Here on the Morning Drive, we got this early on. I wanted to get to it, though. Jamie, my son, plays on a travel team. He also plays Little League Baseball because we believe in its value. Brian Klein spoke at the Idlewood Little League opening ceremonies Friday. What a fine young man. I'm quite sure that wasn't a paying gig. Good for Brian. I mean, he's been a great representative for your university when he was playing, and after he's finished playing as well, has been just outstanding.
Yeah, he's a great dude. Great dude. And I'm glad you guys got to hear from him because he's got the right message. He's very grounded, and he's a guy that you want. He's works for Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and he's a guy you want mentoring young people today. And speaking to him as well. Yeah. We get this. Love the fight in the ninth on Saturday with 2 outs to tie the game. Unfortunately, when you didn't capitalize in the 10th and 11th, when you had momentum and opportunities, you knew it wasn't going to end well. Did you have a similar feeling? It just, as a whole for the weekend, I thought that one of the biggest stats was you scored in 12 innings, and don't count one of them because TCU didn't bat in the bottom half of that inning. That was the seventh inning on Friday night. So you basically scored in 11 innings when TCU had an at bat after you. They scored in 8 of the next 11 of those 11 half innings afterwards. So you never ever felt like you got momentum in the series, and that speaks to the point that the texter is just talking about there. You never felt like you ever grabbed the momentum and rolled with it because you couldn't master the shutdown inning. You couldn't hang a zero afterwards very often. And I thought that was a big stat. I think TCU had 7 2-out RBI hits on the weekend. You had 2. And those were the 2 that you just mentioned in the ninth with 2 outs on Saturday. You didn't. I mean, you had some hits with runners in scoring position. If you look at the weekend numbers, they're not going to be terrible. But those 2-out hits, when those are big momentum swings where you get steal an extra run, drive in an extra run here or there. You just didn't get much of those this weekend. We listened to both games on Saturday and Sunday. Saturday was an exciting game. Yesterday was as well. And then this observation: starting pitching gets better, Tech baseball will do good. If it gets better, correct. Yeah. Yes, no doubt. I mean, you're seeing, Jackson Burns, it feels like, is taking big strides. I feel bad for Lucas Perko. It's hard to judge his last 2 starts. Defense hasn't been great. And he's had just, I feel like, some really bad luck. But, that we all know that's part of baseball or whatever. But the defense has got to play better behind him. Mm-hmm. He's going to, they're going to put the ball in play. He's not walking a bunch of guys. Friday was just, I'll just be honest, that was the worst Tech has played all season long. Friday. That was bad. Yeah, just never. That kind of reminded you of some of what we saw the last 2 years. Yeah. We will. So it was really good. Really, I felt like after Saturday and Sunday, I thought you played 2 really good games. TCU is a different team with those 2 guys back, that they got back healthy, and that's a big factor for them. And you're playing at home, you probably win at least one of those games. It felt like when 2 of those games were the last team with an at-bat wins or whatever. It gave you some momentum, your crowd behind you, all the above. But TCU made plays, and give them credit for it. So after the weekend, standings look like this: UCF is 8-1. West Virginia is 7-2. Kansas is 6-3. Arizona State is 5-4 with TCU and Utah and Baylor. And then there's a bunch at 4-5, which includes Texas Tech, Cincinnati, Kansas State, the Red Raiders, and BYU.
with Oklahoma State, Arizona, and Houston rounding out the final three there at the bottom. And Houston comes to town this week, so that's a good thing for you. Have a chance to, but you're going to shake your head and say Houston's a good team.
No, I'm just going to tell you, stop looking at the standings right now. You just got to win games.
Yeah, I understand that.
You just got to win games. I mean, you're scheduled to start the year in Big 12 play. We knew was tough. I mean, you see how good Kansas is. With their record, they've played, they picked up a lot more wins after they left Lubbock, and that was a really good series for the Red Raiders to start with a win. And then you go on the road to a team that was in the College World Series last year, and you get a series victory. And Arizona does not look as good as they were last year. There's no question, but it's still a road series. And you found a way to come away with victories, even though I didn't feel like you played by far your best baseball of the season. And then you go on the road at TCU, and again, the goal is always, hey, don't ever get swept on the road, and win all your series at home. Well, you got swept, so that means you come back home and you've played much better at home than you have so far on the road. But the schedule has been tough as far as Big 12 play goes. So you got Houston coming to town. They're not a great baseball team. They don't pitch it particularly well. And so go make some hay and, take advantage of a couple straight Big 12 home series coming up and just keep fighting. But, at this point, you see the two teams there at the top. I think UCF is really playing good baseball right now. West Virginia, a great road series victory this weekend. Arizona State. I think Arizona State also really good. I think those three look like the front runners right now at the top. I mean, just looking at the standings, that kind of shows that. But they look really good, and so at this point, you're just get wins. Just get wins, and let the standings fall where they may. You just need to get wins.
All right, so that kind of gives you an idea of what's been going on from a baseball standpoint for the last 3 days. As the Red Raiders did not have the weekend they wanted against TCU, obviously, losing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Red Raiders softball team did win all three of their games Friday, Saturday, and Sunday against Iowa State, and winning them pretty handily, too, as they'll continue. The softballers will be on the road tomorrow at ACU, and Texas Tech, the baseball, will host ACU. We'll have it for you at 6, balls and strikes at 6:30 tomorrow night from Danlaw Field at Rip Griffin Park. This Day in Sports History is next.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It's Monday, March 30th. Jimmy, last Monday in March.
Okay.
With This Day in Sports History, here is Jeff McGuire.
Whatever will we do? Last whole Monday in March. Oh, no. 1940. Second NCAA Men's Basketball Championship took place. Indiana beat Kansas 60-42. Hoosiers forward Marvin Huffman is named the tournament most outstanding player. 1981, so 41 years later, the 43rd NCAA Men's Basketball Championship. Indiana beats North Carolina 63-50. Hoosiers' future Hall of Fame point guard Isaiah Thomas is the tournament most outstanding player. And the worst GM in Knicks history.
And the killer of the CBA.
1997, the 16th NCAA Women's Basketball Championship took place. Take a guess who won.
UConn.
That is a good guess, but you're about 10 years early on that.
Okay.
Tennessee beats Old Dominion 68-59. Volunteers' 5th national title. And in 2019, 3-seeded Texas Tech stifles top-seeded Gonzaga with 5 blocks from Tariq Owens and 16 forced turnovers in a 75-69 victory over for the Red Raiders, taking them to their first ever Final Four.
That was a good Sunday.
It is Turkey Neck Soup Day.
Doesn't sound very good.
No. I think that Gonzaga thing was on a Saturday, by the way.
You were the one that said Sunday.
I know. Correct myself.
I just tell you it happened today. I don't tell you what that day was.
Yeah.
No.
Turkey neck soup sounds terrible. Have you had it, Jeff?
I may have. I don't know off the top of my head. It's not something I've made. Big time happy birthday going out, and he would fit right in with this Red Raider baseball team. Josh Bartz is 48 today.
It's a good one.
Celine Dion, 57. Eric Clapton, 81. Paul Reiser, 69. Richard Sherman, 38. Alex Bregman, 32. Chris Sale, 37. And Charlie Weiss is 70. And on this day, 1939, we should have been at a comic book store. Detective Comics number 27 appeared on the nation's newsstand, introducing the world to a brand new superhero, the Batman. Dated May 1939, the comic book featured the Caped Crusader on its cover, swooping through the air on a rope while holding a bad guy in a headlock. Starting the issue, the cover announced the amazing and unique adventures of the Batman. If only we had bought one of those, guys, because in April of 2024, a copy sold for $1.825 million.
Nice.
And that is This Day in Sports History.
This Day in Sports History, 6:49 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Take your thoughts, comments on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to WT973.com for that of the mobile app. Visual Edge IT hotline is open to 806-771-0973. I saw this yesterday, Jamie. I thought this was pretty cool what he did. Steve Kerr, who is the head coach of the Golden State Warriors, last October wrote a letter to Toronto Blue Jays manager John Schneider. I say October, I don't know the specific date, but it was written the day after the Blue Jays lost to the Los Angeles Dodgers in the deciding game of the World Series. Unbeknownst to the skipper of the Blue Jays, John Schneider, it had been sitting on his desk during the offseason as he had not gone, I guess, back to Rogers Center. When they got back from spring training, he saw the letter and opened it. And basically what Kerr said, according to The Athletic, I felt compelled to reach out after watching your incredible leadership on display during the World Series. He said he basically took the time out because, he can relate to that defeat, losing the 2016 NBA Finals to the Cleveland Cavaliers. He said the pain was real, but what always survives through the tough losses is the character and connection of the group. The loss won't define you, but the way you and your guys carried themselves afterwards will. And Schneider said to The Athletic, he said that was the message that they've been preaching all season and during the offseason and during the spring. The run was great and the heartbreak was real, but it's not going to define who we are. We all went through it together. What we're going to be defined by is how we persevere through it. So I thought that was pretty cool that Steve Kerr, who did not know John Schneider, took the time to jog him a note and send it to him and commiserate, I guess, a little bit and just, give him a little boost up.
Yeah, no, that was nice of him.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool. So sometimes, the handwritten note is a lost art these days. It seems like. So if you have that opportunity to send someone a note of encouragement, then maybe that'd be something that you should do.
But you could just do it from email because then they'll get it a lot sooner.
You could, but there's something that's to be said with a handwritten note, with a stamp on it, and you open up your mailbox and you look at it and see that somebody took the time to,
they're taking the same time to type and send an email. So
you don't think there's a higher value in a handwritten note versus an email?
Mm-mm.
You don't?
Mm-mm. I think what he did is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what he did is awesome. I think it's super cool. Yeah, I mean, if somebody wrote me an email and said encouraging things to me, it would mean just as much as somebody writing me a letter.
Or sending you a little note in the mail?
Yeah, I mean, both of them would be appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not disparaging either one. I just don't feel like one is higher than the other. I think they're both awesome.
Okay. I think a handwritten note is because it takes a little bit. I think it takes a little bit more effort to write a handwritten note than to do an email. I think, like you said, both are nice, both are good to do, both are things that are. But I think the handwritten note stands out more.
If we're just appreciating what they say to us, I don't need them to make more effort. Okay. I don't need it to be harder on them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well. Okay. I just, like I said,
you're right. It takes more effort. It takes longer to get there. I mean, again, I don't, for it to mean something to me, like, boy, Bobby, he sweat. I mean, he had to go to the post office. He had to find a stamp. He had to go get a stamp. I mean, hey, Bobby, thanks for saying something nice.
No, I got you. I'm just surprised that you're on your take there a little bit. I just thought you would be more with me on the handwritten note thing. No,
hey, it's the words. It's not how they got there.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I can hear what you're saying. Jeff, do you have an opinion on this?
Nope.
Okay. Nope.
Okay.
All right. Well, I mean, I
think it's awesome that he wrote the letter. I think that's cool. I mean, in the realm of I want to save this and I want to put it in a folder and I'll always have it. That's better in that regard.
Yeah.
I can also hit print on my email.
You could. You could hit print on your email. You could hit.
But there's no stamp involved.
There's not.
You can't have a pizza party at the post office.
When's the last time that you put a stamp on something? Has it been a while?
I can't tell you. I don't know.
The show on Friday would be the best.
He asked me. We didn't ask Chuck.
Actually, I put a stamp on something. I put a bill in the mail this morning before I went to work because I wanted to send it off that way. Well, I guess I just show my gray hair sometime.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Jamie Lent, Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Jamie, I got this communique from Randy Rosetta. He'll host the high school fan zone tonight from 6 until 7:30 on 100.7 The Score. Here's the lineup for tonight. We'll have Estacado baseball coach Mark Giannis. We'll have Monterey softball coach Brian Cronk. Memorial baseball coach Brandon Robertson. From Liberty, the track and field coach Hunter Dubree with athletes Campbell Beeler and Lane Miller. He also points out big baseball showdown tomorrow night between Memorial and Estacado, and we will have that game for you at 7 o'clock tomorrow night on Sunny 97.7.
Cool.
Okay.
Very cool.
And then also points out district track meets on Wednesday and Thursday of this week with Liberty, a prime contender in District 5 4A. I think Liberty's going to be a prime contender in just about everything.
Kind of feels that way. They've been rolling athletically.
No doubt.
Good stuff there.
No doubt. The Final Four is set for the NCAA basketball tournament. Boy, oh boy, what a game yesterday between UConn and Duke. Duke's up by 19. They led by 15 at the half. And I saw this note late in the game, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe this is an omen for Duke. When teams that were seeded number one in the NCAA tournament led by 15 or more at halftime, the record was 134-0. It's now 134-1. Duke led UConn 44-29 at the half by 15 points. And then UConn outscored Duke 44-28 in the second half as they won at 73-72. Braylon Mullins with a three-pointer from 35 feet out with less than a second remaining. I mean, they had the ball, Duke did, with 10 seconds remaining at the UConn end. They get the ball in bounds and throw it to Caden Boozer, who all he had to do, because,
just hold the ball, let him foul you.
Just hold the ball, and let him foul you. But he saw he had two guys open and was trying to throw it down court, and it was deflected, and Mullins came up with it, passed it off. They got it back to him, and heaves up the three, step in, and hits it, nails it. And UConn goes to the Final Four again, and it's a big heartbreak for Duke. And I realize not many people are going to feel bad for them or anything like that, but I feel bad for those kids. Don't give up a 19-point lead, right? I mean, that's how you fix that. And they didn't at the end of the first half. I was watching that game, going, okay, man, they had a chance to put them away, but they didn't score. Duke didn't in the last 3 minutes and 24 seconds of the first half, and still had a 15-point lead. Mm-hmm. And missed some opportunities during the game, and then UConn started. They got on a roll, and sometimes it's hard to stop teams when they get on a roll. So they'll advance on to the Final Four, as will Michigan. As Michigan yesterday, they just walloped Tennessee. I mean, it wasn't even a game, to be honest with you. I mean, it was. They played the game, but when you win by 33 points, 95-62, the 1 seed beating the 6 seed Tennessee, it was ugly. Mm-hmm. Saturday, Illinois with a win over Iowa, 71-59. I think Ben McCollum and his Iowa team had kind of become a darling of the tournament, so to speak, with kind of what they did and how they kind of went through the tournament, and they come up short. And then Arizona and Purdue, it looked like this was going to be more of a game than what it turned out to be. It turns out to be a 79-64 win for Arizona over Purdue. It was a closer game at the half, but Arizona comes away with the victory. So now that you have this, the 2 1 seeds will meet, Michigan, Arizona, and then Illinois and Connecticut will meet for the early game. So what's your take for a national championship game next Monday night?
I got Arizona against UConn.
Okay. And Arizona winning it all?
Hope so. There's just something about Hurley and UConn. They seem to get it done in the postseason. They do.
They do. There's no question. No question about it. Paul wants to know whatever happened to the NIT. Paul, it's going on, but there's no reason.
Is it really?
Yeah, there's no real reason to talk about it. It's happening, and I seriously had heard nothing about it. Well, they're down to the Final Four for that. In fact, on Thursday, New Mexico and Tulsa will meet in one semifinal, and Auburn and Illinois State will meet in the other. Okay.
All right, now I've heard something about it.
There you go. We get this, Duke, Karma. If you saw how Carlos Boozer's ugly gestures and waving goodbye to St. John's. I did not see that. I saw that game. I saw the end of it. Somebody says this goes on, and we can still say we beat the national champion on their home court, something no one else did. Yeah, I mean, Duke only had 2 losses prior to the game yesterday, so it was similar. Of course, you played Illinois early in the season and lost at their place. Mm-hmm. So, 2 of the – you can't say anything about the Tech basketball schedule because, man, it was – not only was it tough for the Big 12, but it was tough in the non-conference as well. Rick Barnes says he's coming back to Tennessee. He's going to continue coaching. He's getting up there into Rick Pitino age. Pitino signed a new deal with St. John's that'll make him the second highest paid coach in the Big East. I guess he'll be behind Dan Hurley, which is understandable with what Hurley's done there at UConn. With his success, but man, boy does he have a lot of facial expressions during a game. Dan Hurley, I mean, it to the point where it's like they weren't even showing John Shire from Duke. They're just showing Dan Hurley with his arms out and his glasses on, glasses off, and big, what? And all this kind of stuff. It was.
I think that's pretty typical of most every basketball coach in the history of ever.
He just seems to be a little more expressive than others. I mean, he's really expressive. Like, if he wasn't such a good basketball coach, he could be a great, like, actor on stage, like Broadway or something, because you have to have big personality and big facial expressions and all those kinds of things. I think he'd be really good at that.
Okay. Well, maybe that's something for his future.
I mean, Bill Murray was in the stands again. His son, Luke, is an assistant coach at UConn. He's getting ready to be a head coach. He's going to be the head coach at Boston College next year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. We get this. Hurley demands attention. Yes. Yes, he certainly does. He certainly does. 7:24 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Do you have a question for us? Your question is next.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Jamie's question of the day is next. Doesn't have to be Jamie. Could be somebody else.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3. Presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
All right, pretty simple question for you guys. You might want to pull up your Big 12 football standings from last year.
Okay.
I want to know which team you think will take the biggest jump forward from their standing record in Big 12 play a year ago, and which team will take the biggest step backwards. I am going to put one asterisk here.
No Red Raiders?
I think all of us will answer Oklahoma State for the biggest jump forward. So you can't answer Oklahoma State.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really tickled your fancy. Why it was that funny?
Well, because they went 0-9, and it wouldn't take much for them to, make a jump up.
Fair enough, but I think it's more about their
new coach,
their transfer portal class.
Yeah, like all of them. Like the whole, they got 67 people. It seems like.
They got a lot of them.
They got a lot of them. All right.
I don't think we should be critical of anybody for doing that.
No. I'm not being critical. I just, they just quite literally turned over their whole roster. Oh, who's going to have the biggest jump?
Forward and backwards.
Okay. All right, backwards, I think it's going to be Utah, just because they have a change in coach and change in regime, and the new guy thinks he's got it all figured out because he's been there and he's been offering suggestions, and maybe they've taken some of them, maybe they haven't. The previous head coach, who's now at Michigan, apparently wanted to stay another year, and Utah said to him, well, you can stay, but you're going to be the head coach and ceremonially only. You won't have any say over the roster or anything goes on with the football team. So he said, no, why would I do that? And then Sharon Moore did what he did, acted stupidly, and Michigan came to that guy with a pile of money. All right, so I'm going to say Utah's going backwards. And I'm going to say, this is just nutso, I'll say West Virginia makes the biggest leap forward. I think Rich Rod gets it turned around there. So I think he could win 3 or 4 more games, and that might be enough, because while I think Houston's going to be better and Arizona may be a little bit better, I don't know that that qualifies with the, only winning 2 more games than West Virginia winning 3 or 4 more games. So I'll say Utah going backwards, West Virginia going forwards.
Okay.
I have nothing to base this on except past experience. Baylor will make the biggest jump forward because it's the every other year for Dave Aranda. That's just the way it feels like it goes with him. He has a good year and then a disastrous year, and I would call 3-6 a disastrous year in Big 12 play. As for a team going backwards, maybe this is some wishful thinking. Maybe this is just because I don't particularly care for them. I'm going to go Houston will not repeat as 6-3 next year.
Okay. I think my number one going backwards is Iowa State. They were 5-4 last year. I mean, their head coach left. Their roster is changing dramatically. Just doesn't feel like there's a lot of momentum there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're going backwards big time. I think that Houston is a legitimate team. I think they'll probably finish somewhere around where they're finished last year at 6-3. I also think Utah is going to be a good team that'll finish in the top 4 of the Big 12. So I don't expect a big step backwards for Utah. I think the more difficult question is who's moving forward. Who's taking a jump forward? Obviously, Oklahoma State would, just with the way that their roster has changed. I don't know about Colorado, West Virginia, and UCF at the bottom. Baylor and Kansas, there's nothing that says to me that they're going to be better. So this one is really hard. Same thing with Kansas State. I surely don't think Cincinnati is going to be better after they lost Sorsby. So I'm going with Arizona because I think Arizona has a lot back. They're 6-3. Maybe it's 7-2. I don't know. I mean, I don't think they're going to finish, 9-0 or anything like that. But what other team are we looking at saying they're going to be? You know what? You could say Texas Tech when it comes to the record because I don't think they're going to lose a game in Big 12 play.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be shocked at all to see them at 9-0.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's the same as what I'm predicting with Arizona, just one game.
Okay.
I don't know who else.
What about TCU? Do you worry about them at all?
Well, I mean, I don't think they're as good at the quarterback position as they were a year ago, but I don't think they're terrible at the quarterback position. The guy that they brought in has put up massive numbers, just not at the Power 4 level. I don't know. I don't look for a jump for them.
Okay. All right. So if you have an opinion on that, hit us up on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to WT973.com for that, of the mobile app. Visual Edge IT hotline is open too. Red Raiders are not practicing today. Their next activity will be tomorrow when they practice. They'll practice Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then they have a scrimmage scheduled for Saturday. Okay, that's scrimmage number 1. Okay, and then they're off for Easter, and then back at it next week. So the spring event, I don't know if we can call it a game. They call it a game. I remember it's going to be on April the 17th, and that'll be at night. Okay, so keep that in mind for your schedule as far as that's concerned, because of George Strait coming to town. They're getting out of the way for him. Okay. You excited about that?
About George Strait coming?
No, not him. About the Friday night spring game.
That's good stuff.
Okay. You'll be all right with that? Okay.
I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. You'll be out of town. You'll be in Salt Lake with the baseball team. Okay,
well, I hope everybody has fun. Do I have a strong opinion? I'm not sure what I'm supposed to say.
No, I just was curious if you hadn't cared one way or the other.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Good morning with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. We come to you from the First United Bank studio. Take your thoughts and comments on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to WT973.com for that, of the mobile app. The Visual Edge IT hotline at 2 is open, 806-771-0973. Any observations from the weekend that stood out to you that we haven't discussed so far today? Like just anything that you're like, okay, well, I didn't know that, or didn't know that, or didn't know that, or I knew that and was reminded of that. Anything that kind of just stood out to you? No?
Not that I can remember.
Okay. We have spring football going on. No practice today. They'll practice tomorrow. Do you feel like you know this team yet, or do you feel like it's that's still a work in progress? And do you feel like it's somewhat comparable to a year ago, or do you feel like that you knew last year's team better at this time than you do this year's team? Just kind of off the top of your head.
I would say I feel like I know them less.
Yeah.
I think so much was made of last year's big portal haul. And I think a little bit of it is maybe you don't have as big of names, number one.
Okay.
Number two, it's... Okay, here we go again. We just added another big group of new guys. We're just going to keep doing this every year. So last year it was kind of new, so you dove into it more. And this year it's just like, okay, this is just what we do.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, so a little bit of that is me subscribing a little bit to that whole, I'll dive into it when they run out of the tunnel.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's probably certain areas where I feel like, okay, I know.
I was going to say another part of me not knowing them well is just that they've not played yet.
Yeah, right. No, I get you. And you know, it's hard too when you're not around them every day too. I mean, there's some opportunities to be around them, but it's a busy time. I mean, you're in the middle of baseball season and you know, traveling, going to games. You've been out of town back-to-back weekends.
But let's be honest with you. I mean, even if I'm in town and just sitting back in my recliner, I'm not breaking down spring football.
Yeah,
I go back to the whole, you know, once the season starts and, you know, we're breaking down what's going on in the season.
July, August, yeah.
Then that's legit. Like right now, we're talking about practice.
I feel like there's certain parts of this team that you know a little bit better. Like, you know, the running back room maybe better than you did a year ago just because
they're returners.
Because they're returners.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know, Sorsby just because he's the quarterback. And there's really no question about the quarterback room, or is there? I mean, he's obviously the starter. I mean, the question is maybe what happens if he goes down? Who's the backup? Because your backup from a year ago, Will Hammond, is recovering from his own injury this year, so that you may not be as deep in the quarterback room as maybe you were a year ago. But you don't have the question with the starter, wondering, okay, can Baron Morton's shoulder hold up? Can, you know, is this okay? Is that okay? Is he gonna be able to run? What's the status? When he can't throw until June? Oh my gosh. You know, because I raised some of those questions a year ago.
I was to say, you're quoting yourself.
Yeah, right. I raised those questions. Yeah, I raised those questions a year ago. You know, it feels like, you know, from a receiver standpoint, maybe not as there's obviously some names coming back that you recognize, and then there's some new guys as well, and then, you know, defensively, you don't have the household names up front from the big tickets of what you spent a year ago. So that's a little bit of a difference. But yet the expectation for this team is higher than any team we've had in the last 10 years.
I would say in any team that we've had in the ever.
Yeah, right. In the ever. So, I mean, it's...
Right?
Yes. No, I think so. Because
I don't know what we're cutting it at 10 years for.
Yeah, well, I just kind of threw that 10-year marker out there. But you're right. I mean, I not in my tenure have we gone into a season we're like, well, we're going to go 12-0. Yeah, just write it down.
Has he ever said that, Jeff? Has he ever picked us to go 12-0?
No, I never have.
You never have? Even after like the little kickoff luncheons and stuff?
There was a day where it started, you win this one, you win this, get on rolling. There you go.
But I mean, not in March.
No, not in March.
Nobody's spoken yet.
Well, Coach McGuire's been available a couple times. I've not been to his. I've been to one event. I was there last Tuesday for the Red Raider Club event, and I got fired up. You know, just in listening to him and talk, and everybody talk about what was going on, and the defensive guys that were coming back, and how the offense is looking so far. But I mean, they obviously got a long ways to go. We got kind of got a question. Wonder what's going to happen at kicker. Is Stone Harrington going to be able take that over full time? My guess is yes. He had.
Because he was full time at the end of the year last year.
Yeah. But kickoffs.
That's good news that you have a returner at that position.
Absolutely. Do you think we will hear less about the money spent this season than we did last year? I'm hoping the talking heads just realize this is how the game is played now, and Texas Tech is going to be a big player in the game, so they just move on from the lazy talk. Well, and the other thing, too, is we weren't even number one in that. I mean, we were up there, no question about it, but there were other teams that spent more than Texas Tech did last year.
But you were a new spender.
Yeah, you were, absolutely.
That's what made it the story.
Yeah.
You were a new spender.
Yeah.
You always expect Michigan and Texas to do that. Mm-hmm. But you were the new spender. You were the one that, kind of invited yourself to the party.
Sure. Bought your way to the front of the line.
Bought your way to the front of the line, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean,
but you're right in saying that you weren't the most expensive, or you didn't have the most expensive roster in the league, but you were the new guy, so to speak. And again, I don't know why we want the talk to go away, because all it does is promote to players, recruits, transfer portal guys that you'll spend money on them. Mm-hmm. That's not a bad thing.
No, because they're like, hey, I want to come here. I want to come here, and I want to come here. Yeah. And then at some point in time, you're going to say, well, we can keep improving the roster. You're allowed to get better, right? You're allowed to improve.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.